Ooh, oh, I'm back. Everyone, I am coming back to YouTube, maybe officially, kind of unofficially, who knows, we'll see. But I did break my YouTube sabbatical because I just had to share with you guys this DIY Rattan storage cabinet that I did using those basic Mainstay 6-cube storage things for like 26 bucks. So here we are. That's what today is about. Before we get started though, if you guys like fashion, if you guys like travel, if you guys like lifestyle, DIY, beauty, hair, go ahead and follow your girl, right? And you can keep up with me on Instagram. As we go through the video, make sure if this is something you want to do for yourself, the links will be listed down in the description below. Before we jump into the whole rigmarole and how it got done, I want to share with you guys really quick just 3 things that I have to get off my chest in case you're thinking about doing this, because I just want to save you all some time and some stress because your girl went through it trying to get this done. It was a hot mess, okay? 1, if this is something that you're looking to do with something brand new, I 100% recommend that you already get something that's going to come with cabinet doors and the hinges already laid out. That was such a weird thing to deal with and something I honestly did not think through at all. And I know, engineer, you would think I thought of everything, but I didn't. That being said, if you are going to do this from scratch, you don't have something that you want to convert, go ahead and invest in either an IKEA storage unit or something else that's inexpensive from Walmart or whatever, but that already comes with doors and hinges already figured out. Trust me, it will save you a buttload of time and stress. 2, if you are going to design your own doors like I did, pay attention to the wood that you are buying. So this is something I, again, didn't think through because I'm not Babette the builder. I know that I'm an engineer, but I really don't build things, right? A lot of my stuff is conceptual. So one of the things I did not take into account is that wood comes warped sometimes. So something really quick and easy that you can do as you're picking out wood for your doors is to actually lay it flat on all the different faces, because what happened with my wood is, say this is the piece of wood, it was actually bowed almost like inwards, like a U shape. And then I also had one that was like legit just bent. So what you can do is take your piece of wood, lay it flat on all the sides, and it should lay flat. If you notice any areas that are coming up off of the ground or skewing in one way or another, try and find another piece of wood or go ahead and use the portion that is flat and just make a note of where it's warped so you don't go through the stress that I had to go through, which was having to detach and reattach and detach again because I had such warped wood for one of my doors. The last thing for designing your own doors, hinges. Didn't realize hinges was going to be such an ordeal, okay? I just thought I would go pick up some hinges, life would be easy. But if you want those invisible style soft close and you're going to design your own door, you're going to have to drill a little hole. So for those of you who are not used to building, that in itself can be a little bit of a struggle. I didn't feel like going and buying the tools for all that. And as you'll see, I just got some simple overlay hinges, but I went through a couple different iterations of trying to figure out which hinges I wanted because I decided to do a drop down door instead of the normal sideways opening cabinet. Anyway, that's all I wanted to get off my chest. Just some know before you go and try and do this on your own. Without further ado, let me go ahead and show you what we did to my old shoe cabinet and how we hooked it up to look amazing. In case you haven't watched my loft tour, this is what my storage cabinets looked like before. They're Mainstays from Walmart, 6-unit cubes. I have 2 of them and they were just simple white shoe storage. The very first step, which I forgot to film, was actually putting down a layer of primer before I actually painted. So a lot of these cheaper cabinets come with lacquer paint, so I had to use this really heavy duty primer that I've linked down below. Once the primer had time to dry, I went ahead and painted this beautiful matte black color. It is tricorn black from Lowe's. I absolutely love it. And I started actually with the bottom of the storage units because I knew I was going to be adding legs and I didn't want to worry about how to paint the bottom and scuffing it up when I flipped it all over. So I wanted to make sure it had enough time to dry. Next, I attached these corner base units for the legs because the legs I chose didn't have any. These are really perfect because they lined up super simple, but the one downside, I didn't pay attention to how long the screws were and accidentally screwed through the bottom of my cabinet It isn't super noticeable, but it did cause a bit of a problem when it came to putting on my hinges. After that, I went over with a second layer of coat and also to get the first layer of coat on the base just so it would have that beautiful black color. From there, adding the legs was a breeze. They just grew right into the base, which made it super easy. And then it was time for another layer, making it the third layer of paint for the bottom. For the doors, after I had them cut at Home Depot, I went ahead and just wood glued them together very simply, just so that they would hold when I went to screw them in place the next day. Once the wood glue dried, I just really quickly drilled pilot holes for my screws so they would go in nice and easy and not split the wood. And a word of advice for you builder newbies, pay attention to how thick the wood screws are. I did accidentally split a piece of my wood because my screws were a little too thick. So just make sure that you're picking the right width for the type of wood that you have. Then I brought everything inside to do one last coat of paint for the back side and bottom side of everything. And then I let it sit for about 7 days to really cure and prevent any chipping as I flipped everything over for the rest of the project. After a week of waiting, it was finally time to paint the rest of the storage unit, and I was so excited to just get it done and see the beautiful matte black color I picked out, nice and finished. After another week of letting the paint dry, it was time to put on the rattan. A note about rattan, you should let it soak in warm water for about 30 minutes to make it nice and pliable. Then I just used a staple gun and these staples to go ahead and go to town putting it onto my doors. The key here is to make sure that you keep it taut, and if you can also keep it straight, that helps you kind of keep it nice and stretched as you staple down. These super cute bamboo poles that were big enough for my hands to fit through, and they really match my kind of jungle vibe theme. After the pulls came the hinges, and so as I mentioned earlier, I kind of put the screws in the wrong spot, so I moved my hinges to the inside, and then I went ahead with some tape to kind of make sure that I had the door lined up so that it would lay flat across the top and that it was sitting in the right place because the wood was just so warped for one of the doors. Once I think I got it lined up, I went ahead and just put in one screw for each of the hinges and then set it back up against the door to make sure it was in place. But I didn't attach them right away because I wanted to spray paint the hinges to match the cabinet. This is the spray paint I used. It was really amazing, super quick to use, dried really fast, so I was able to get these painted super quickly. Once the paint dried, it was time to finally put on the doors. What I liked about the overlay hinges that I chose is they actually had a lot of space, so if you kind of screwed in the wrong place, you could shift to the left or right as you needed. Because the wood was so warped, I went ahead and bought a magnet to attach to the doors, so that way it would make sure that the wood laid nice and flat and also prevented them from falling downwards. now that it's installed, let's go ahead and show you the before and then the after. So guys, that's it. I know I say that like that was super easy. I promise you guys, like as I talked over in the video, I mean the doors were just so much stress, so much going back and recutting the wood because I didn't measure right, and just a lot of different issues that honestly I know better now, and hopefully you guys will pay attention before you do this yourselves. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, or if you know somebody who's gonna try and do it, go ahead and share. If you don't already, go ahead and follow your girl because there will be more DIYs, more beauty, more fashion, more travel, just life in general, right? That's what I share here. So make sure you go ahead and hit the follow button, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.